myself right up on out of here. I feel like a disgrace, I'm not really what I appear. I go home to my girl and I make nice seem nice. The fact that she don't know that I just put someone on. I don't like being here. I constantly be gone at any time. When you live a life of crime, you have to face the music through the time. I'm trapped again, and fate as always hasn't wrapped again. I always get caught in my life of sin, but I just keep on going back again. You know I'm lost again, when all I wanted was to find a friend, someone that I can always depend on to help me find my life again. You know I'm trapped again.
Welcome, everyone, to Mayhemtainment Live. I am your host, JD, along with my executive producer, Mizpah, and wrestling from the 313's, Mike D.
Yeah, what's going on? What's going on?
Gentlemen, the Super Bowl is over, and let's start. I'm going to start off with a couple of things. First off, in the pre-show, I was wrong. It was Harrison Butker who went 5 for 5 in the previous week, so he was the one that went 5 for 5. Mizpah was the only one to pick the Chiefs to win. Mike D and I picked the Niners.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Romo was clearly drunk, and it was a damn good Super Bowl in my opinion. I mean, it was a defensive battle, but it went into overtime. I mean, come on, you can't ask for a better Super Bowl than that to go into overtime.
Yeah.
And I think that was only the second time that the Super Bowl
announcer's been drunk.
No, pretty sure that's happened more than that. But I think it's only the second time that the Super Bowl's ever gone into overtime.
I don't know the answer to that. I would have to trust your opinion on that one. I don't know how often or if that's happened before. But let's start with Tony Romo being drunk. Who else agrees that Tony Romo was drunk during the Super Bowl?
Man, Tony Romo sounds like he's drunk on every time he's commentating. Like,
I know
this dude act like he just got all the football knowledge. And it's like, where was all of that when you was playing?
Yeah, I know. I mean, yeah, the only thing worse than his football skills is his commentating skills. I mean, he said 100,000 words in the Super Bowl. Okay. Do you know how many Jim Nance said? 500.
Wow,
okay?
That's crazy.
Yeah,
hey,
no. I mean, that's not an accurate count, obviously. But it seems like it, though, doesn't it? I mean, he was cutting off Mike Pereira. I think it was Mike Pereira. I think I have the name right. Their officiating commentator. Tony Romo kept talking over top of him. He kept talking over top of Jim Nance. And I don't know how many words he slurred, but it was more than I could count.
Yeah, he probably had a little drink on the side of him while he was commentating, and probably had a little something at halftime.
Yeah, and he had something before the game too. Did you see every time they brought him on camera? Did you see him? I mean, come on, he looked like a man who had been drinking since 3:00 this afternoon. So, all right, let's move on from Tony Romo now taking the title of worst commentator of all time.
I still think you're forgetting someone. Maybe not the worst commentator of all time, but at least
John Madden was only bad, towards the end of his career, and
two words,
Chris Collins. Yeah, Chris Collinsworth. He's pretty awful too. But I'll at least Collinsworth isn't drunk. Okay, you can say what you want about Collinsworth. He's not drunk. Tony Romo was drunk. He was bombed out of his mind. There's no give that man a blood alcohol level. He blows over a 1. Easy. So, Yeah, so Butker, the field goal kicker, it did come down to field goals. Each team got a touchdown, only one touchdown, so all of our scores were off. We were all off on our scores. It was definitely a way heavier defensive game than we thought it was going to be. We know the defense was going to play a part, but I don't know that any of us thought that the first quarter was going to only have 3 points and that the whole game was only going to have 2 touchdowns. Not with these teams.
I do think that we'd have had a completely different game had those interceptions not have occurred.
Well, but nobody scored off any of the interceptions.
I know.
So I don't think the interceptions really played a part either.
I think the interceptions prevented scores from happening because both interceptions, they were close. One of them, they were what, 5 yards from the end zone?
Yeah, but you can say the same thing about a punt or, a missed field goal. It's still a missed opportunity. An interception's the same with that. You know what I mean? I think the defense just showed that they were, both the defenses. You know what I mean? It wasn't just the Chiefs defense or the Niners defense. It was both defenses. It was a tough game.
Or how about the fact that if that extra point wouldn't have been blocked, it wouldn't have been a tie game?
That's key. Yeah, that and the holding penalties for the 49ers, because I think they had 4 or 5 holding penalties on the 49ers. That's way too many.
I also had said that in the pre-show about whichever team
penalties,
had the least penalties would come out on top.
Yeah. Mike D, what do you think?
I just think overall it was just a good defensive battle. I think both offensive came through. It was definitely, you would say, like a chess game between both coaches. One, you would say Shanahan tried to, outsmart Andy Reid, but Andy Reid's a legend. He's been doing this for years. He's been in the Super Bowl with the Eagles. So that's all I can say. The Chiefs, they're Super Bowl champions. So, they tried their best, but hey, the better team won.
Yeah, I think the on that last drive, the Niners defense really seemed to fall away. Like they really were shutting Mahomes down there up until, he got going a little bit in the fourth quarter, and then in overtime was really where he put most of his yards up and where he won the MVP.
Yeah. And that's where that clutch gene come in at too. Patrick Mahomes got that clutch gene. So.
And Purdy, that's him being a rookie. I think that's what cost him. You know what I mean? That's a lot of pressure to put on a rookie quarterback, and he's a great quarterback, but to not be in that situation before and then to expect him to pull it out against someone like Mahomes with a defense playing like that.
So
go ahead.
Are you saying that experience came into play a little bit?
Yeah. I thought the Niners team as a whole would be able to overcome Brock Purdy's lack of experience. I thought the team as a whole, I thought they would. What is it with the Niners? They really got off McCaffrey there in the second and third quarter. They stopped running the ball. They did it good in the first quarter, led to a field goal, but then they stopped and they didn't start it again until the end of the game. And by then it was already getting to be too late.
I kind of felt like it was almost like watching 2 different games from the halftime. The first half of the game, the Chiefs really didn't look like they were firing off on all 8 cylinders.
Yeah.
I mean, they made mistakes. They were off. They weren't playing 100%. I don't know what was going on, but they just weren't 100% there. And the 49ers were playing on point, minus a couple of penalties that should have been prevented. That was the first half. The second half, the Chiefs got themselves together and the 49ers fell apart.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you, but I would say it was more like the first 3 quarters the 49ers kind of owned, and then it was the fourth quarter and the overtime where the Chiefs really came on. I mean, we remember we had 5 quarters in the Super Bowl. It was almost all the way to the end of the overtime quarter, or it was in fact almost down to 0-0 when right before the Chiefs scored. So we were getting ready to go into a second quarter of overtime.
And I think the third quarter was, you could start seeing fatigue setting in. You could start seeing players were getting gassed.
Even on the Chiefs side,
Right.
too, the Chiefs defense really got gassed there towards the end. I thought the Niners were really going to be able, if they'd have scored that touchdown at the end instead of that field goal.
Well, and the offenses were pretty gassed too. Like, you could see it in the players' eyes. They were all just kind of like, oh my God, I'm so tired.
Yeah.
You can see it with McCaffrey, and then they they had a couple of injuries too.
A couple of injuries, on both sides.
Yep. Yeah. So
towards the end, they were dropping like flies.
And McCaffrey, man, he looked so beat up after that last drive, man. Him like doubled over on the sideline after that last drive, and then when he stood up, his jersey is like completely stained. I'm like, man, he is beat up.
He looked like he went through a war.
Yeah, I mean, and I think they should have. I think they should have leaned on him a little bit more yet. I mean, he had over 100, and I think it was over 135 or 140 some yards between passing and running, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's a heck of a game. But I think they should have relied a little bit more on him, through the second and third quarters. Once they had that lead, they should have just ran the ball, just hand it off. And I was saying it to somebody, I think it was here at my house, I was saying, I think I'd do more to the outside, maybe some stretches or some slants or some tosses. They were really stopping him up the middle, McCaffrey.
Yeah.
And I think they should have taken it to the outside a little bit more. I think that would have opened up some more lanes for him.
So what's your take on the interaction between Kelsey and Reed? Do you think he was just, in the moment and fired up, or do you think there's a little bit more there going on than what we realize?
I think he was just frustrated. I think he was just frustrated that he was out of the game and his replacement made a mistake, and he was saying, there's no reason for me to be out. Don't take me out of the game, I think was more of what it was. I mean, we've seen this season with Kelsey. It's not the first time he's been fired up and gotten in either player's face or other coaches' faces. And I understand that, it's for the Super Bowl, and there's no reason for your big name guys to be out, not unless they're requesting because they need to catch a breather, or if they're injured. There's no reason to take Kelsey out of the game. He can do every offensive down easily, I bet.
See, I was wondering if maybe there's not a little bit of maybe Andy Reid and him don't have a good working relationship.
No, I because I never heard anything about them during the season about them, having any friction. I think like JD said, I think it's the Super Bowl. He wants to be
the
in the
emotion
game,
in the moment,
and the emotion into it all. Yep, I agree.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I think too. Yeah. And since we're on Kelsey, let's talk about how many times the NFL doesn't need to show us how Taylor Swift is reacting. Let's get rid of the Taylor Swift reaction cam. All right, NFL, it's time to drop that. All right, there's no reason to do it in the NFL. Okay, you got rid of many other things in the NFL. Okay, you've even gotten rid of, unless it's within 5 minutes in the second and fourth quarter, you don't even stop the clock when people run out of bounds anymore. Okay, you did it to increase the pace of the game and to try and keep it exciting. The Taylor Swift cam is not exciting. Okay, nor is it needed in the NFL. Get rid of it today and don't ever bring it back again, please. We don't need any more of that. I was so tired of that. Listen, the first time, or like if he'd have scored a touchdown, I get it. You know what I mean? Or if he'd have, a big play, got it. You know what I mean? I even understood on his first catch of the game. Okay, fine, we see it. But did we need to see it as often as we did? No, we really didn't.
Now, one or two times was fine, but after that, I was over it.
Yeah.
And also, let me ask you this: how many commercials can we stick Tom Brady in?
Apparently, quite a few.
I was so tired of seeing his face when he was playing. Now he's not playing, and we still can't get rid of him.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's kind of the same thing with Peyton and Eli. Any commercial that you see now, you see Peyton and Eli on. So, Tom Brady's retired now. He's about to kick back and get some of this commercial money, I guess.
Yeah. For our viewers who just tuned in, we were just talking about how the NFL needs to drop the Taylor Swift cam. That is not a necessary part of football. And then other than that, it's really been about football. And Brady, Aaron, come on. Brady doesn't need to make money somehow. Are you kidding me? He's got enough money. He doesn't need more. He definitely doesn't need more. I don't care if his wife took all of his money. Why did it? There's something there too between him and his wife. She left him after he retired. I think it was because of that nonsense he tried to pull between Miami and Tampa Bay, trying to come out of retirement and own a piece of Miami while quarterbacking for them. So, but yeah, because the camera's not on Tom Brady anymore. That's why he doesn't have the attention anymore, and he doesn't have his trophy wife. So he's alone. He needs somebody. He needs the fans back. That's why he's doing all these commercials. But it's going to turn into Peyton. I'm a huge Peyton Manning fan. I'm done with him on commercials, though.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
And after the Super Bowl, I'm done with Tom Brady on commercials, too.
So how'd you feel about the halftime show?
Not bad. A little lacking. Who in the right mind decided to give Alicia Keys 60 seconds and give all the other guests several minutes? Who decided that nonsense?
So I actually thought it was a good halftime show. It was one of the better ones we've had in a while.
It was
opinion.
You know what? It's funny. I didn't even watch the halftime show. I went to the back and played some Madden for a hot minute. I'm just like, the halftime shows is cool, but it's nothing that I look forward to. I just want to watch the games, and I heard my wife in there listening to it, and it seemed like she enjoyed it and everything. But I just came to the back and just played some Madden real quick.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Usher's a good dancer. All right, fine. All right, he's still got some pipes. He can still sing okay. But the thing about the Super Bowl halftime shows is that it's not just about the main act. It's about who else do you get, that's the surprise. Like, you know what I mean? Like Alicia Keys. I didn't hear. I mean, I didn't do much digging, but I didn't know Alicia Keys was going to be in it. Nor Lil Jon. You know what I mean? It's those types of things that I think people watch the halftime show for. And while I do appreciate, I mean, Alicia Keys, starting off with Alicia Keys as the first guest other than Usher was huge. But that's what I'm saying. How do you give someone like Alicia Keys 30 seconds? That's ridiculous. She should have been on the stage for the whole thing with Usher. She's a power singer just like he can be.
Yeah.
Even more so. So I think not including her was a huge mistake. What's the problem, Aaron? Nope. What? She was the highlight. Yeah, I know she's the highlight, but you give the highlights more than that. And how many times have we seen the halftime shows end with the highlight? I mean, I remember last year we saw Dre, Eminem, Snoop, and how many others standing all on stage together. They all went right from one to the other, and they all joined in. Alicia Keys, who is one of my favorites, is on for 60 seconds, and then she's gone. And then Lil Jon is the next big, guest. And I love Lil Jon, but other than he doesn't really offer a whole lot. Okay. So that's my Lil Jon.
You do that a little too well.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
I mean,
all right.
I will say it seemed like it was a little disjointed, like segmented out a little too harshly. Like it didn't flow from one segment to the next very well.
Yeah,
but
agree.
Overall, it was a better halftime show than several in the past.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a terrible halftime show, but it wasn't a great one either. It was okay. It was a halftime show. It's just a standard halftime show. I don't give it anything special. I would expect to see something like that in a championship game or something. You know what I mean? Like I said, it just wasn't big enough. I think they didn't have enough other people other than Usher. And yes, Aaron, you're right. Usher was sweating buckets. I mean, by the end of it, I bet he lost 5 or 10 pounds by the end of it. I mean, did you see him at the end there, man? I mean, it was pouring off of him. Or you didn't watch Mike D, but
I'll probably catch the highlights sometime tonight or in the morning. I know they're gonna be showing it all on TV.
Yeah, he was sweating buckets. Oh, I forgot Ludacris. There was too. Yeah. Lil Jon and Ludacris. No, Lil Jon walked around the stage and said, yeah, and okay for several, at least a minute or two. We just didn't, he wasn't like highlighted after the initial thing. But if you listen, he was there. He was there in the background, saying, yeah, and okay. I mean, really, I love Lil Jon. But once you get past the okay, what else is there? What else is he going to do on the stage? That's what he comes on stage. He says it a couple times, and then that's it. He's done. There you go. Well, Mike D, you're in good company. Aaron's kids went to play Madden as soon as the halftime show started. So there you go.
I just
moving on from the halftime show.
I think. Oh, actually, one more thing. I think they should start like picking people or start showcasing people that play Madden in the halftime show. That should be the new halftime show. Is show people playing Madden.
Yeah, I know. During Super Bowl weekend, I know they do a lot of Madden tournaments and stuff. People play the game and they win thousands. They win thousands of dollars playing in the tournaments and stuff. So. I think ESPN might show the coverage of the tournaments during Super Bowl weekend. So
they do it with some of their social. Yeah, they do it with some of their social media.
Yeah.
We got new viewers. Leave us a comment. We'll include you in the conversation. Mizpah, you wanted to move on from the halftime show.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the commercials for a minute. I felt like the commercials this year were of better quality than the past 5 years at least. Like they were actually decent commercials this time. Like
I would actually tend to disagree with that. Leave us a comment if you're watching what your favorite commercial was, if you are. And I'm sorry, Aaron's still commenting about the halftime show, so we have to go back to it one last time. The halftime show is paid for by the artist. I did not know that, if that's actually the case.
No, I didn't know that either. Wow.
I thought the artist got paid to do the halftime show, which is how I'm thinking it is. But I could very well be wrong. But to the commercials, I don't know. There were some good ones. Certainly some amusing ones as well. I was really let down by the Budweiser commercial this Super Bowl. I thought that was subpar.
At least we had a Budweiser commercial this year. We didn't have one last year.
Yeah. Are you sure? Yeah, we did.
Did we?
I'm going to look it up, but I am pretty certain that we did. But I guess, they did lose hundreds of millions of dollars this year. We're not going to talk about why or get into any of that. But
I think some of the commercials that stood out for me was like some of the movie trailers. They got I think they're doing the remake of Twister.
No, man. Let's talk about that for just a second. I'm not sure. Now listen, I've read some conflicting reports. You think they did what, Aaron? I didn't see this until after we had already moved on, so I'm not sure what she's commenting on. But the Twisters, Twisters. I've read conflicting reports. Is this? I don't know if this is going to be a sequel, or is this or is this a remake? I'm not sure. And it didn't really get us. They didn't really get us like the previews didn't really give us the answer to that. I don't think either. Like it was like, I love trailers that don't give away the movie. Those are the best types of trailers, in my opinion. Show us some stuff, hype it up. Don't give away anything for the story or like that. That's what I like from a trailer. So, and I think Twisters, the trailer, at least, if nothing else, was a really great trailer because it didn't ruin anything of the movie. So I don't know. It could be is it going to be a sequel or is it a remake? Is it a brand new movie that has nothing to do with the original Twister?
Right. And there was another one that stood out for me. They got a movie trailer for this movie called Wicked, and I think it's supposed to be like a prequel to like the Wizard of Oz movie or something like that.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah,
Wicked,
yeah,
it's actually it's about the Wicked Witch.
yeah.
It's
Okay.
It's based on her and like from her point of view of things.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
you're right. You guys are right. Budweiser did sit out the 2021, and the 2023 Super Bowl commercials. They didn't have one last year or in 2021. So it must be the 2022 one that I was thinking about being the last good one. But I still wasn't very impressed with it either way. And Aaron agrees. Thank you for commenting, Aaron. We appreciate that we're getting at least a viewer who's giving us some fan interaction. So thank you very much for that. And Wicked, I don't know about Wicked. I wasn't. That didn't really get me. I wasn't really.
Yeah.
The breeze
really-
is
it didn't really
interested in
catch me.
seeing it.
There was another movie though. I can't remember it now. It looked like there was like aliens and stuff.
Oh, I think I know which one you're talking about. It kind of got like the title of it is kind of long.
Yeah, and because the end of it's day one, so it's like whatever the title is, day one.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, okay, if it's titled day one, then as long as it's going to be good, then they'll come out with sequels. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wicked was a Broadway show that they are turning into a movie, says our
Yes.
viewer Aaron.
Oh,
so
okay.
thank you for that. I did not know that Wicked was a Broadway show.
Surprisingly, with the movie trailers for the Super Bowl, you didn't see a lot of superhero movies.
Yeah, we didn't get. Did we get the Deadpool 3 trailer? I didn't see it. If we did,
I didn't see it.
I didn't see anything.
Aaron, you don't have to worry about commenting so much. That's what we are doing this live for. We want people to comment. We just wish we had a couple more viewers for these episodes, but we're just getting, we're just starting to flow more with the Mayhem Media live show. So we're hoping that people will see that we're putting on live shows, and then we'll tune in more often. Where were we? I'm sorry, I took us off track again.
Bring on the comments. I love comments.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, keep commenting. We don't care if you're the only one. Just keep commenting. Yeah, did we get the Deadpool 3 trailer? Did anybody see that?
I didn't see anything.
I didn't
see anything from DC, Marvel.
Yeah, I know that was weird. But I mean, Deadpool 3 is coming out. But what other Marvel projects are coming out? Are there any other ones coming out?
Oh,
I don't think there are.
I kind of refer to you for my Marvel knowledge. So
Yeah, I think there is. I don't think there's another Marvel movie coming out right in the immediate at this point. And I don't think DC's doing anything either. Although DC's talking about redoing I don't know what they're going to redo. Redoing another Superman, redoing another Batman. They're going to redo something because that's what they do. That's my problem with DC. No continuity. Just they make a series of movies like the Dark Knight trilogy. We make a trilogy and then we move on. No universe. Just now it's another new Batman movie.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to. The new Batman movie's good, or the newer Batman movie was good, but it's still, it's just a retelling of the same old stories. Let's get a universe going, DC. Come on.
Yeah, I would like to see more Batman movies with Robin involved. You never like the last movie that they did with Robin involved was the one with Batman Forever, and then he was in the Batman and Robin movie.
Which movie has Robin in it, Aaron? Other than the old school series of movies with Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, and George Clooney, and they gave a nod in the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah, they did. Yep.
But it wasn't Robin. It wasn't the real Robin, and he would have that character would have likely been more of a Nightwing than a Robin because they named him Robin for some reason, also, which is just stupid. But they knew it was only going to be a trilogy because that's what DC does. They reset their universes. I would like to see. That's what I'm saying. At this point, how many they could have spun everything off. They could be doing Robin movies. They could be doing Nightwing movies. They could be doing Red Hood movies. They don't bother to build a universe.
Yeah,
Don
I agree.
Going to be here. Who's that, Aaron? Who's Don Johnson's daughter going to be? Is she going to be the new? Not the new Wonder Woman. I'm trying to think of who it is, but I can't think of who it is, who it's going to be.
And for some reason, DC can never get the Superman movies right. Like out of all
Henry Cavill. I thought Henry Cavill's Superman was a great Superman. The one that they did building the to build the Justice League.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great movie.
But for some reason, it's just like the Superman movies just don't click, or they just don't like attract. It doesn't hit the way the Batman movies do. You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
yeah. I don't know. She sees the future, Aaron. I don't know who you're talking about or what superhero you're talking about. I'm sorry. I really don't. But I don't know DC. I don't know DC as well as Marvel.
So getting back onto the topic of football.
Yeah, we are talking about football here. We should be getting into the football. The Dominatrix. I didn't watch the Dominatrix movie either.
So the injury of the guy that was coming in off the sideline to start the play and got injured his Achilles tendon.
Yeah.
Imagine being that poor schmuck. You're in the Super Bowl and you're on the sideline and you get injured coming into the game.
Yeah.
Just walking into the game. Like he was so pumped up, he was jumping up and down on the sideline, and he went to, I don't know, skip his way out onto the field.
Yeah, you got to be careful, man.
Tripped over his own 2 feet. Like,
man.
How do you feel about yourself right now?
That's what turf is great for, man.
That poor, somebody buy that poor man a beer.
Yeah.
Or 4.
Well, especially because he was on I think he was on the 49ers too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he doesn't even get a Super Bowl ring.
Like that would just suck.
Yeah.
Aaron injuring her Achilles over there on the cheerleading with the rest of with the cheerleaders. Like, she used to be one. So didn't you, Aaron?
For him.
I might be wrong about that. I apologize if I am wrong. There was a couple of. How about the dude who tried to take on Kelsey and then practically dislocated his shoulder or his entire right side?
Yeah.
You can't mess with Kelsey. You can't run into Kelsey.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was effective, but he paid for it.
Yeah, you're right. He did knock him out of bounds, but yeah, he knocked himself right out the game for a couple plays too.
Yeah, he did.
So I think he came back though. They took him into the tent. They said, "Yo, it's not broken. It's not dislocated. Get out there."
No, I think he was. Look, I'll have 6 months to take care of this. Put me back in.
Yeah. Tape it up. Give me a cracker. I'll go back in.
But
we were joking here about like that they were probably giving some of the guys. Some of the guys looked like they got hurt pretty good, like maybe to keep them out, but then they were right back out on the play. They went into the tent, got a shot of cortisone, and then went back out onto the field.
Yeah. I'm sure there's those guys are not going to be moving too well tomorrow.
Nah. Especially my man's that tore his Achilles. Like that's just that was just bad luck right there.
But you know what? That just goes to show, like, they left every ounce of everything they had on the field today.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, both teams. Both teams definitely fought hard.
That's when it's been a good game. When both teams are completely gassed and still giving everything they got left. It's been a hard-fought game.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's see if I can remember the quote. A man's greatest triumph is when he lies exhausted on the field of battle, victorious. Vincent Lombardi.
That's a good quote.
Sounds about right.
And I'd say the Chiefs definitely got that done. Aaron, I'm sorry your house is sad. A lot of people are going to be sad that the Niners didn't win that. I mean, even Mike D and I picked the Niners to win on paper, dude. On paper, it looked like the Niners were going to win, but you can't discount that Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid magic. And I'd also like to point out that everything I said about both teams in the pre-show both teams proved me wrong. Like, I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. Because I said about the Chiefs not being able to run, and then Pacheco didn't have a great day, but he was in there. He grinded out some tough yards for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So, and then Brock Purdy, he didn't have the greatest game either, but finding people still wide open. So, I mean, basically everything I said, the pre-show is basically worthless. We didn't accomplish anything in the pre-show. So if you're watching this, don't even go back and watch the pre-show. But
speak for yourself.
Yeah, well, he got it right. He said the Chiefs, but of course, we'd be ragging him the entire episode if he was wrong, though.
Well, he was the only
one.
That's how it goes.
Yeah,
that's why I'm getting my digs in while I can.
Yeah. Next season, we'll have to try and see if we can put together a short episode every week, maybe, and like even if it's like a pick show or something. I'm sure Aaron, a lot of people were cooking food. We didn't get. We had a couple of viewers for a few minutes in the first show, so it's all good. And like I just said, you didn't really miss much. You missed Mizpah being right, which is a rare thing. If you want to see that happen, you should go back and watch it because it'll be a long time before you see that again. So, what else you guys want to talk about? Anything? No more Taylor Swift cam. Great Super Bowl, probably one of the best ones we've had it that might have been the closest and most competitive Super Bowl we've had in 15 years.
Yeah, I'm just
happy some other good ones, but
I'm just happy it wasn't a one-sided blowout game where who's going to win by the halftime, and you might as well stop watching and go do something productive.
Yeah.
I definitely agree. Yeah, this was this is one of those Super Bowls that was good from the first quarter to overtime, and both teams played well, and Kansas City pulled it off again. And I think they starting to be the New England Patriots. They about to start winning a lot of Super Bowls. So we shall see what they do in the offseason.
Yeah, and I think the Niners are going to be there challenging them. You know what I mean? You get Brock Purdy some experience, and I think if the Niners can get back there again, I think Brock Purdy's going to be. I think he's going to be a great quarterback. I just think he was just a little too inexperienced, and the Niners made way too many mistakes. I mean, there were way too many penalties on the 49ers in this game.
And not just the penalties, but they were penalties that absolutely weren't warranted or needed.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't do or accomplish anything at all. Like there was no reason to slap that guy upside the head. Like, there was just no point of that other than frustration.
Yeah.
And what did that get you?
Just like the holding.
The ball back.
Yeah, just like the holding. There's no reason for the holding either. Aaron, I'm sorry that well, I guess if you learned a podcast and they explain things, I guess that makes sense. I mean, that's where I learned. I had people telling me what to do, and the announcers, at least in the 90s, when I first started watching football in the 90s, there were a lot more replays, and the announcers really broke down the game a lot more than they do in today's football because they try and keep it high paced. There's not enough time in between plays to show 3 replays and then to have the announcers and the color guys break down the plays. The color commentators break down the plays, right? So we don't get it as much as we did back then. That's when I learned, when they would show up, because there would be 45-second play clocks.
Yeah.
So
not only that, but they would actually take time to show a replay and explain what happened while there were plays still going on. So you might miss 2 or 3 plays watching the replay.
Yeah.
They don't do that anymore.
Yeah. And hopefully, Aaron, maybe you'll get to learn some football if we continue to do more football episodes. I'd love to be able to do more football episodes and be able to teach people about the games. But of course, we got to be careful about how many, if we show replays or use NFL footage, because we don't. I've sent an email to them, but we don't have their permission. So I'm really careful about what we show, or, I mean, beyond talking about the NFL, we're really careful about what we do. And of course, that's at the advice of my executive producer, Mizpah. But I think I'm going to try and talk him into next year, us doing actually commentating one of the games, just not showing it on camera, and giving it a try once and see what happens.
We don't want to anger the mighty NFL and incur the wrath of their mighty fine for copyright infringement.
They can't sue us on the first one. They could just demand that we take everything down. If we did it more than once, then we would. And trust me, the first time we get a cease and desist letter from the NFL, we won't even mention them again on camera. But we have reached out. You know what I mean? We have reached out, so it's not out of the realm of possibility for us to talk about them a little bit, or do some stuff and see. And we'll reach out again before next year too. But yeah, I'd love to be able to commentate a game. I think Mizpah and I would be.
Well, next year we'll be commentating the Super Bowl where the Dallas Cowboys win.
Hey man, you don't know, man. We start commentating early in the season. Maybe we do it for a preseason game or something like that. You know what I mean? That way it takes less of the attention off. Maybe the NFL doesn't care even if we do it on a preseason game. So. Maybe we're good enough, Mizpah, that they invite us to call the Super Bowl. I mean, Romo's drunk, dude. I mean, come on, man. We can do way better than Romo. I mean, I like Jim Nantz. Jim Nantz is a great play-by-play guy, but I think we can do better than what they've had the last couple of years. We'll bring Mike D on as our officiating commentator. Whenever we need a question about officiating, we'll bring Mike D in.
There we go. Sounds good.
Sweet.
Yeah, see? So there we go. We got it all set up.
real quick. This off season, what do y'all think is gonna happen with y'all favorite teams? I know JD, you a Eagles fan. Mizpah, you a Dallas fan. I'm a Lions fan. So what do y'all think is gonna happen with y'all teams in the off season?
I'm sorry. I know you just asked that, Mike D, and I'll definitely get to that. But Aaron just said maybe he's not drunk. Maybe it's just too many hits to the head. That's possible. Yeah, that's possible. For the Eagles, I think just locking down some people whose contracts may be up, picking up some new people, just like normal. I mean, I don't think we need to do anything major. The Eagles don't need to do anything major, I don't think. Maybe look into the running game a little bit, make sure we lock down our defensive guys, but I think we have the right recipe. I just think we had a bad game in the first round of the playoffs and towards the end of the season, for whatever reason that is, which I don't know. And I don't have any ideas to speculate. So, but I think the Eagles will do okay. I don't think the Cowboys will do bad either. I mean, I think they'll do just like the Eagles. I think the Cowboys will sure some things up and lock up some contracts. The Cowboys' problem has always been, when they get to the playoffs, they lose. I still think that's more of a front office problem.
I think the Cowboys will strengthen up their offensive line a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, they got a great defense, so there's not really much they need to do on there. They got some good running backs. They got rid of Zeke, and they locked Tony Pollard in, so they got some running game. I think they need to try and invest and see if they can get someone else different to complement Pollard, like someone maybe a little bigger that can pound the ball a little more, or maybe someone a little smaller and faster that can get to the outside a little more. But I think both teams, Eagles and the Cowboys, have really good teams. It's just a matter of, I think the Cowboys have front office problems. I think until ownership the issues are fixed with Dallas, I think they're going to continue to have their internal problems. And the Eagles, I think, was just a, maybe they just hit a cold streak or whatever at the end of the season, and it went into the playoffs. I'm not sure about the Eagles, but I think they got pretty good team. Jason Kelsey's retiring now, Aaron, so you'll have your second husband all to yourself. And I assume he calls you that your son calls him your boyfriend because you're a big Jason Kelsey fan. There you go. Oops, I didn't mean to click that twice. Aaron thought it was going to be the Lions too. I thought they were going to beat the 49ers. I thought they had the momentum.
Yeah, they definitely did.
They weren't able to pull it off, But I think that's a good sign for Detroit. I mean, look how fast. What's his name? Who's their head coach, Mike?
Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell. I think, man, he has turned things around so fast. And that just goes to show you, the NFL, why you don't get rid of a head coach. Why you don't just get rid of a head coach because you have a bad season. Look what Dan Campbell did. And last year they only had 5 or 8 wins last year, Detroit?
No, they won 9-8.
9-8, yeah. See, so you know what I mean? I mean, and after 2 years, if you're not turning it around, most owners will be like, you're fired.
Yeah,
So
because
I think that goes to show you don't get rid of your head coaches. Give him some time to build a team and then see what he can do. And I think Dan Campbell's a perfect example of that.
yeah, I think definitely they're gonna have a good offseason. The defensive and offensive coordinator is coming back. Of course, I think they need to kind of, upgrade at the cornerback position and everything. But if they keep everybody intact and then, sign some pieces in free agency that they can,
And
help build on those weaknesses, they'll be good going into the next season. And of
and how
course,
about Jared Goff's talent being good enough that it can withstand the curse of Detroit, killing the talent of your quarterbacks?
This season here, Jared Goff probably surpassed a lot of Lions quarterbacks. I think he surpassed Stafford. As great as Stafford was, Jared Goff got us two
That's what I'm
playoff
saying, man.
wins.
Yeah, Stafford was good, I think, before he went to Detroit, and then it seems like Detroit gets these great players, and then when they come to Detroit, they can't perform. That's just it's always been like that. It seems like, except for like these last few years where Dan Campbell's been building the team, and even look, Dan Campbell said, "Nope, Stafford's not the guy who's going to get us to the Super Bowl. Got to get him out. Let's bring Goff in."
But I think also Stafford. I think Stafford wanted to leave too. I think Stafford knew that he wasn't going to win in Detroit, so I think they just came to a
and then they end up beating the Rams out and going deep, or at least having a great run going into the playoffs. Did the Rams make it this year? I don't think they did.
to make the playoffs.
Yeah,
the Rams made the playoffs. They played Detroit in the first round.
Oh, and then they lost.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's what I'm saying. No, actually, Aaron, I'm sorry. Jason Kelce, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be mistaken, but I don't think I am. I believe he has announced that he is retiring. I saw it from the official Eagles Facebook page that he has announced he was retiring. So I'm sorry, but your boyfriend or your second husband is retiring, so he can spend more time with you now. And okay, Jim Harbaugh. What do you guys think about Jim Harbaugh saying he would only go back to the NFL if the Chargers offered him a job? And now he is going to be the Chargers head coach. I didn't know he actually was officially offered the job of the Chargers head coach. That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, that's news that I missed.
Yeah.
Listen, John Harbaugh. Go ahead, Mike D. If you got something, go.
I was just gonna say I think he's gonna do a good job with the team. I don't think it's gonna be something where the first year they just about to go 13-4 or 15-2 or anything like that. I think it's gonna be a slow build, but I could see them winning maybe like 10 to 11 games, second place in the division.
Yeah,
depending on what Kansas City does.
Yeah, you got the Chargers are going to be. I think they're kind of rebuilding. So you got to give if you're going to take Jim Harbaugh, then you got to give him some. You got to give him some time to build the team, and that's what Aaron's saying also right now. She agrees with you that I think you got to give him some time to build a team before you can judge whether or not he's going to do a good job. I don't know though. Listen, man, my concern has always been college coaches coming to the NFL. Listen, what you do in college isn't going to work in the NFL. All right. Now, he did do a good job when he was with San Francisco, but he still tried to do college things with Kaepernick. You know what I mean? He tried to have that where you have a quarterback who's mobile and can do things in different formations, and you can't do what you do in college and the pros. You have to adjust it. You have to change it.
That's true, but I think with Harbaugh already being a NFL coach, I think his adjustment will be cool. I think it's when you got guys like a Nick Saban that is just coached all through college, and then he tries to go to the NFL, and then in 3 seasons he only got 9 wins, but he got 30 losses. Like the same, like what you saw, like when Steve Spurrier tried to be the coach of the Redskins, or Chip Kelly. The times that
I hate Chip Kelly.
Oh, come on, JD. We know.
No, I hate Chip Kelly. Listen, I don't care, man. When you take the NFL rushing champion and then he barely gets 600 yards the next year, you've done so many different things wrong. And if I was Shady, I don't blame Shady for going to Buffalo. I went to Buffalo with Chip Kelly as my head coach. I'd been like, get me out of my contract. I'm leaving this place. I'm done here. Because Chip Kelly was just the worst. He might be the worst coach of all time. And that's saying something because before him, the other worst coach of all time was also an Eagles quarterback, Richie Kotite.
Nah, they not those aren't the worst coaches ever. If you was
Really?
here
Richie
during
Kotite, man. I mean, Richie. All right, you're right. I'm totally drawing a blank on his name now. I'll think of it in a second. Actually, Aaron, I think the 49ers didn't extend his contract. That's why he went back to the college level. If I remember correctly, it was the 49ers who chose not to extend his contract. And I don't know who you're talking about. Who is the worst coach? We said a couple of different coaches just then, so I don't know which one you're referring to. She obviously agrees with one of us.
Hey, but if you was here during the time when Matt Miller was running the Lions, and we had,
oh man, you're right. Okay, I mean, listen, you're not wrong. The Lions have a string of some really terrible coaches too.
Hey, Marty Morningweg, Mariucci, Marinelli.
Oh man,
Jim Schwartz, yeah.
Oh, Schwartz. Oh my goodness, Schwartz.
Yeah,
oh my God, I remember Schwartz.
Yeah, so we've had a list of bad coaches. So Rich Kotite and anybody.
Richie Kotite and Schwartz, they kind of remind me of similar situations where they both had really good teams and just could not make it work.
They couldn't put it together.
No, they had great teams and just could not figure out how to put the pieces together. It was like a jigsaw puzzle that was too difficult for him. It was awful.
No, it was a jigsaw puzzle that was missing a couple of pieces, and the couple of pieces was their brains.
They were the corner pieces. That was the problem. They were trying to build from the inside out. Well, I think we pretty much covered just about everything we're going to cover. We went longer than I thought we were going to go. Thank you, Aaron, our viewer, for providing us some comments and giving us some topics to discuss
Real quick,
so that we can go a little longer. Yeah, go ahead, Mizpah.
Did any of you catch the fact that Nickelodeon was airing the Super Bowl?
Yeah, Nickelodeon's been airing football. If you didn't know that, they've been airing football for kids, and they put all the splash stuff on it and slime stuff. They try and make it, cool for kids to get excited about and stuff like that. They've been doing it all season. And I think they did it last season part-time. A couple of games were aired on Nickelodeon or a couple of days after on Nickelodeon. And this year they've been doing it throughout the entire season.
This was the first time they'd actually done a Super Bowl. And I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't know that I saw the effects. They actually did the effects on Paramount. During one of the things. So I was like, oh, I didn't know Nickelodeon, was doing the slime time thing or whatever with football for the Super Bowl. So yeah, I do think that that's cool that they're doing that. I think it's great to try and get kids to watch it a little bit more.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind it. They could do real slime, and as far as I'm concerned. Do it for bad plays, though. You know what I mean? Like you fumble the ball, you get slimed.
Right.
You miss a tackle that clearly you should have gotten. You get slimed.
Try to strip a ball to cause a fumble, and you're actually carrying the player with you. You both get slimed.
Aaron, it's because those parents. I don't know what's common about those parents. Listen, I have not sit and watched an entire Nickelodeon game or anything like that. I think it's great, and I don't think it would be hard for me to watch either. I don't know who the announcers are. If you happen to see, Aaron, if you happen to watch any of it on Nickelodeon, if you happen to know who the announcers were, I'd be interested in that information as well. Yeah, and I don't know who it's designed for, at what age group or anything. All I know is that it's football, and it would have to be some really, really terrible stuff going on, including a really terrible commentating team for me not to watch it, even if it was like aimed at children. I don't care about the slime and the screen effects and stuff. That wouldn't bother me. Mike D, what do you think? Would it bother you? Would it bother you if there were like Nickelodeon crap on the screen? Would that really bother you?
No, I don't want to see that. I mean, if I had some kids,
really, you wouldn't. You don't.
if I had some kids and I was watching it with my kids, then yeah.
But that's what I mean, though. But that's what I mean, though. If you had kids and you were not that you'd go out of your way to watch it on Nickelodeon. I wouldn't. But I'm saying if I had kids and they wanted to watch it on Nickelodeon, that stuff wouldn't bother me.
Nah. But just me being there and be like, yeah, I'm gonna watch this game on Nickelodeon instead of Fox. No, I ain't gonna do that.
No, I wouldn't either. Well, I mean, I'd watch it on Nickelodeon. I don't get Fox. So if it was on Fox and Nickelodeon, I would watch it on Nickelodeon. But I wouldn't watch it on Nickelodeon unless I had kids, unless there were kids around and, wanted to watch it on Nickelodeon. Then I would. But I also don't care. Like I said, if it was on, it wouldn't bother me. It wouldn't bother me at all. Having slime or effects and stuff, none of that would bother me at all.
No.
So,
or they could just take it back and use the Double Dare obstacle course. You know what I'm saying? Go
yeah, man. That's what I'm saying.
Get
Double
the little
Dare,
red flag or whatever.
Giving Double Dare a shout out.
Right.
I also should have given the podcast Aaron said a shout out. I didn't look at the name though. The New Heights podcast. So shout out to the New Heights podcast. Yeah, I don't really care about the slime thing too much, but I'm glad that they're trying to get more kids involved. And I like that they're adding more games. We had Black Friday this year. And the playoffs now, they've been showing games. They're showing multiple games on Saturday and Sunday. And with London, we're getting some early games. I wish we'd get, the morning games, and then we get both afternoon games, and we get the Sunday night games. But often when there's a Sunday morning game, we don't get 2 Sunday night or Sunday afternoon games from both stations.
Yeah. They said next season, the season's going to start on Friday. There's supposed to be a game in Brazil. That's going to be the first game of the season.
In where?
In Brazil.
Wow, they're really going international here. I mean, although anything in South America is still in the same time zone, it would just be a long flight.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be it's going to be a Friday night game too.
That's interesting. What do you guys think about? What do you guys think about an international team? A UK? What about like one from England, or even one from South America or Mexico? Being that that the time zones would be the same for anything in North or South America. You think it would be fair to the teams to make them travel to, or fair to those teams to travel?
I think if they do international, I would like to see either the UK or Canada. I think Canada would make more sense because just of the time zones, Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing it go a little more international. The Eagles are the first game of the season, the Friday night game in Brazil. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we are going to wrap it up. We've gone almost an hour, which is longer than I anticipated. So thank you, Aaron, for helping us have a good show, a great show. Thank you, Mike D, for coming on. Thank you, Mizpah, for rocking it out, even though you have work early o'clock in the morning and you're not going to get much sleep. We appreciate that as well. Thank you for anybody else who watches this episode over the next couple of days or weeks. We appreciate it. Leave us a comment. We can talk about it in a future show. Share the episode out so that we can try and continue to grow this episode. We're on Facebook, Rumble, and YouTube. Visit our storefront, bonfire.com/store/ bonfire.com/store/JDE Designs. That's with the Z at the end of it. And pick up some apparel. Marcus Fredrickson is going to play us out. He plays us in and out of every single episode on Mayhem Media. Go to his channel, reverbnation.com/Marcus Fredrickson, and share out your favorite song. Thank you, Aaron, for participating. Thank you for all the viewers. For Ms. Bob, Mike.
Thanks to Aaron.
What?
Many thanks to Aaron.
Yes, definitely. She definitely contributed to the show. So many thanks to Aaron. For Mike D, Wrestling from the 313, executive producer Mizpah, I am your host, JD. That's the end.
Peace.
Good night.